So apparently social media has been buzzing. I say apparently because you know I'm not there, regarding a video showing aspiring model Gabriella Bernard saying she deserves an apology from Wendy Fitzwilliam after she was given an ultimatum on the TV show Caribbean's Next Top Model. This is after she was told to relax her natural hair or go home. We're going to show you the video in a bit, but first we want to discuss the natural beauty versus the fashion industry and whether or not it's placing a demand on women to alter their appearance. On set with us is Romeo Gordon, fashion director at Pulse Model Management, and the great Dr. Jeffrey Walcott, who's a consultant psychiatrist, who always tell us it's too early, and then they'll say the other night and say too late. Always. It looks like when we start the show about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Good morning to you both.
Morning.
Good to be here. As far as you know, my leading, all that is true. She was told change or go home, as far as you know.
So I heard.
Right.
I gathered from social media. It's a bit, brouhaha about the whole thing. But I just figure that it's very simple for me. If you join up to do something, and if there are rules around doing that particular thing, and you know that these are the situations that you're going to get into, i.e., if it's recommended that you change your look for a particular shoot or whatever, you're given the people liberty to do that, then you have a choice. If you are faced with the dilemma of feeling that your how you wear your hair is not what you want them to do, then you step off. You take a stand.
I saw the video. It's going to come up from me. Part of the challenge was it wasn't even just straightening it for a one shoot. Mm-hmm. It was, we are going to process the hair permanently. Mm-hmm. And then what was said was, you didn't seem professional if it was not processed. I've seen models with natural hair. So it was a little concerning for me in terms of not seeming professional. Is that really a perception in the modeling world?
Well, I think a lot has changed over the years in modeling. I mean, you see a lot more girls now. For example, our main star, Alicia Burke, has her hair in a low afro, and she's doing amazingly well. Mm-hmm. She's just had Tom Ford out, Bobby Brown. She's doing great. And I think the modeling industry has become much more open to black women, feeling their power in their hair, wearing afros and things like that. I had an occasion, for example, one time when I had to go on a shoot. I had long hair. The client wanted to cut the hair. And I thought, okay, well, you booked me based on my pictures in my book. So therefore, you have to call my agency and I thought I was being very professional. I sat in a corner and waited until they consulted. So I wasn't telling the client, no, you can't cut my hair. But I knew that if my book had changed just from that one job, it might have affected my whole career in that moment. Now, this young lady, I feel, had to be her own agent. If she feels strongly about the way she's wearing her hair, then she has to say, look, guys, I've come this far in the show, and this is my identity, this is who I want to stand for, and she steps off the show, in my opinion. Okay. That's my position, really.
I think the video, okay.
Yeah, Dr. Jeffrey, just before the video, what's your take on all of this?
Well, I hear what Romeo said, and I do agree that if it is that you feel strongly about a particular way you look, or that you should not be coerced and you should take a stand. Look, Davina, for instance. I mean, we can't say enough about Davina. Good girl from the country and good school. She has her hair beautifully natural, and she broke all the molds. You have to take a stance, and I think a lot of people misunderstand the fact that when you are taking a stance, it's somehow going to be easier, it's going to be accepted, or you're going to do it and people are going to automatically think that, oh, this is great, let's do it your way. No, you have to fight. And having looked at the video, which I think you're going to show now, you see that there's a huge problem in terms of her own value system, not just the issue of the industry, but it's a cultural problem that is brought up in the video.
Well, let's take a look at the video.
Please do not relax my hair, because I've had it relaxed for 15 years, and my brand is about embracing your natural beauty and empowerment of black people. I'm okay with texturizing my hair as long as my curls stay intact. You need to understand that my hair is my identity. People seek me out just...
Why would you ask someone to do that? I mean, just for instance, you said you had an issue, but why would, in the agency, someone ask her, what would her hair have to do with anything?
Well, I mean, it depends on the style or the look that they're, going for. And in a one-off situation, I'm sure there are sort of stop gaps that you could do to perhaps straighten her hair for a particular look, and then her hair can go back to her natural curls. So there are some issues there too. I mean, I heard someone saying that, sort of Wendy was, abusing her power on the show to say that you have to step off or whatever. But I thought that the young lady could have taken charge and decided that, look, guys, I'd signed up for this. I had agreed that you could do this, but now I feel aggrieved about it, and therefore I'm not going to continue in the show. Because to me, I always use sports analogies. If you know these rules going into a game, you can't, after the game is ended, you can't say, well, I've been badly done.
Are you aware that she knew that she had to do her hair?
Well, I know, for example, for our show, I mean, we don't ask people to change their hair in any kind of very distinct way in that manner. In fact, we've cut somebody's hair to highlight their natural beauty in one of our reality TV shows. But I know that usually they have non-disclosure agreements and things like that that they have to sign up for. I don't know what is the situation with Caribbean's Next Top Model as far as what they have to sign on to. But usually there are things that they have to
This is the finished product, and she says, oh, wow, I look just like Wendy. That's what
she said, that she looked like Wendy?
Yes,
yeah,
when the hair was straightened.
Right.
So this is when Wendy kind of gives her a reprimand for shutting down the salon.
Back to you again, Romy. If you ask Delia to change her hair, she's involved in the show.
Right.
You ask her to change her hair, and she says no. What happens?
Well, she has to decide. I think that's...
So you would say, well...
She has to decide, because if it is that we're going into a situation and you know that, Delia, when you come in, we might do a little makeover. One of the episodes is going to include you cutting your hair or maybe adding extensions or texturizing it or whatever, and Delia signs on and says, I agree, Reme, that you are able to do that when I participate in the show, then Delia would now have to decide that, look,
right.
Am I going to compromise the way I want my hair to look because it's so much a part of, as Black women, we're connected to our hair. I mean, it's been a big history of how we feel oppressed by the fact that we have to do these things to our hair. But I think we're in a place of power now in terms of how we want to express ourselves through our hair. And so therefore, it seems like there's a big afterward for this situation, because she's gone and made a movie, and it's great for Wendy in terms of a PR for her show. Give me some of that PR for Caribbean.
Oh, Lord.
For our show on TVJ.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned identity.
Yeah.
I mean, Romy kind of alluded to it a while ago. The issue of identity and tying that into how we look. I saw somebody the other day saying social media, we're into a vanity metric.
We are. I think we are. Instagram, we are a lot of people who are now public figures who you've never heard of, but they have 1 million or so likes, and that's now a mark for influence.
Yes.
So I think we are but there's a bigger issue here, and I think one of the biggest issues is the cultural aspect, because we know we talk about the fashion industry, but this is in no way unique to the fashion industry. In fact, this is a cultural problem, and we have the ramifications of it. And I think most of the time, because it's so...
I'm sorry. What do you mean by it's a cultural problem?
That's what I mean. Because it's so sensitive, we have been taught to devalue anything of African descent. Anything, looks, face, color. And this is something that we have from time to time think that we're past, but we're not. We have this huge issue with people bleaching their skin, except when you look, there's a scandal some time ago, and there's a publication that I think the Heart Trust published, that people were demanding that they send them applicants who are lighter skin. So there are huge cultural disconnects, because on one hand we see behaviors and we're quick to judge, but we don't recognize the societal problems that perpetuate it. And I think that's what we have to address. So in the latter half of that video, there's a whole tirade about professionalism and professional look and what is deemed professional versus non-professional. And I think that now moves away from the fashion issues, and that now goes into the cultural concept.
Yeah. Romy, that was a competition.
Right.
Why would you not just let her enter? And if she lose because of her hair, she lose, and she will go home anyway. Why would you stop her from entering because of that?
Well, did she take a decision ultimately? I haven't been following the story
Yes,
really.
it was do your hair or go
Go
home.
home,
Yeah.
right. And so she did her hair so that she could continue in the
Right.
competition.
But again, if I enter the competition and I'm like this, and so you don't like how I look, I'm going to lose.
Right.
So I tell me I can't enter like
Well,
this.
I don't not necessarily think that she would lose if she's a strong contender. You know, in the modeling business, you kind of have to be flexible and you have to be able to adapt to situations. And I suspect that this might have been one of them where they're trying to go for a certain look in a particular episode, and so therefore they wanted to, you know, encourage her to change her hair. But I don't know that that disqualifies her in terms of her overall package as a potential model. And I think ultimately that ought to be the goal of a show like this.
I've seen models walk off of Tyra's show.
Yep.
That-
You already said a couple of times that if you know the rules coming in, you have to abide by it. Would you have done what when they did?
I don't think so. I don't think so because we've been in the industry for a long time, and Pulse has been putting out models of all ilks from the Lois Samuels days when she's had natural hair, bucking the trend long before it's become so much more popular now for women to wear their hair like that. So we understand that we have to be sort of at the forefront, pioneering a movement to help people in the fashion industry accept Black women and push our ilk, our 30-odd shades of colors in the industry. So we've always been, as I said, in one of our reality shows of seasons past, we've had a girl cut off her, you know, chemically treated hair to highlight, because we felt that she would be a lot more competitive with the natural hair. So we've always been, but I don't think that we would go there in, you know, Caribbean Model Search to say, okay, look, you're not going to be able to continue if you don't process your hair in this way. Because we accept diversity.
Yeah. By the way, Dana did say that she said I look like Wendy. Well, she did. Well,
Did she?
yeah. We're going to show you that. No, she did.
Let's see.
Wow. Are you kidding? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I look just like Wendy.
Well, hello. My dear, before we get into your photograph, this was also the week of the makeover. Darling, what was all of that at my salon? I need you to explain to me why you were so unbelievably naughty and unprofessional.
Yes, I must apologize to you, judges. Previously, I had my hair straightened for 15 years. When I made the transition, I started to love myself more because we live in a world where the media tells us that we need to have the straight hair to be accepted.
I hear you. I accept what you're saying. I have also transitioned, like so many other women recently, and I understand your position from that perspective. However, as a young up-and-coming model, as a young up-and-coming attorney facing judges or senior counsel, as a young upcoming any professional, you have to be what? Professional. Shutting down my salon, creating that mayhem when there's so many other young women to get done and to look fabulous as well, is a loud non-starter. That's the kind of thing in the real world that gets you dismissed immediately. So that can't happen again. Okay? That's a good photograph. You are a very attractive young woman, but I want to see that attractiveness reflected in the attitude moving forward. Yep. Thank you, Gabby.
You agree with all of that?
The fact of the matter is that for that particular look, I don't know that if her hair was natural, she'd have looked any different, to be frank. I mean, her hair could have been perfectly the natural kinky curly the way she had it before, and it would have not been much of a difference in that particular shot. It's a swimsuit, it's highlighting her body, it's not like a beauty or for a hair product or anything like that. So I take issue with that. I don't necessarily believe that it would have been any different if her hair was the way it was naturally.
I'm trying.
No, you
The
don't
man
have
with
to.
no hair.
Say what you want to say.
Because,
please.
first of all, I don't know nothing about the show. I mean, I've seen fleetingly. I don't know who sponsors it, but to me that looks like a commercial for hair products, and that's the honest thing. She had her hair natural. It was then processed, and she was taken aback, and it just seems commercialized to me. But I think part of the aspect that we're really dealing with is the issue of cultural identity and your right to affirm your cultural identity. As I said before, you have that right, and certainly you have women who have come before you who have done so. Not in this setting where it is not novel. We're talking when you're the first person and everybody
Breaking
has
the ground,
real
breaking
pressures, you
right.
know, real struggles who have come through. And I think
We've sent queens with locks.
This
the
is
Miss Universe,
Universe,
Miss
Sarah
Jamaica.
Burton.
yeah. So I think this is a bit
Sensational.
no. I'm trying to find a nice word that don't get me kick off and never break up.
Don't get kicked off. Don't get
It's a
kicked
bit
off.
disrespectful to the legacy of the people who have gone before, who have fought,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
even know who have done it. I mean, I keep saying Davina, she's from my parish. but-
I don't know why she was called unprofessional, because from what we saw, I didn't see her.
I think it's a great
Well, the
moment that
length
she
of the
could
video,
have.
they don't show the length of the video, but she was there
Going
debating
on and
it
on.
for a long time about not touching her hair. So I think Wendy was saying you shut down the salon for a long time.
But I think that
it was a hard decision for
for
her
her.
to make.
And me, in my situation, there in that moment, and I feel that it's so much wrapped up in my identity, I'm standing up and I'm keeping my hair and I'm saying
shut it down.
goodbye.
We have to go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
because
to see.
I think that's a bad message
Yeah.
to give. That
I would have
standing
shut
up
down-
for yourself.
I would
is
shut
someone
down the salon
professional.
for even longer. Good to see you both. My fashion director with Pulse Pulse Model Management, May Gordon, and consultant psychiatrist, and our good friend, co-host here, Dr. Jeffrey Walcott.
Since you're co-host, say more and smile after the break.
We'll soon come.